What if I told you that over 100 men, women, and children vanished from an island, leaving behind only a single cryptic clue? Men, women, and children who were loved, and yet never seen again. No bodies, no signs of a struggle, only one carved word that's left generations scratching their heads for over 400 years. This is the story of Roanoke, the lost colony that still puzzles historians to this day. In this video, we're diving deep into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. We'll explore the colony's beginnings, the mysterious disappearance of over 100 settlers, and the strange and compelling theories that have emerged. We'll also examine new evidence that sheds light on what might have really happened to these pioneers. Let's rewind to the 1580s. At the time, England was desperate to establish a foothold in the New World, especially as tensions with Spain, the world's dominant maritime power, reached new heights. Elizabeth I saw the Americas as a land of opportunity, a chance to stake claim in the vast, resource-rich territories that Spain had already begun to exploit. The famous English privateer, Sir Walter Raleigh, was granted a charter to establish a colony along the coast of what is now North Carolina. Raleigh's first attempt at colonization, in 1585, known as the Lane Colony, ended in failure after the settlers abandoned Roanoke Island due to hostile relations with local Native American tribes and a severe lack of food. But in 1587, Raleigh tried again, this time sending a new group of settlers to Roanoke, led by John White, an artist and cartographer. The new colony, unlike the first, included women and children. It was clear that this group was intended to settle permanently and build a new life in the Americas. Among the settlers was John White's daughter, Eleanor Dare, who gave birth to Virginia Dare, the first English-born child in America. Despite this hopeful beginning, the colony quickly fell on hard times. Relations with the local tribes worsened, and by the end of the summer of 1587, food supplies were running dangerously low. In desperation, the colonists asked John White to return to England to gather more supplies. But fate had other plans. When White reached England, he found his homeland at war with Spain. The Anglo-Spanish War had begun, and every available ship was being used to defend the English coast from the looming threat of the Spanish Armada. White's return to Roanoke would be delayed, not by weeks, but by years. When John White finally returned to Roanoke Island in August of 1590, 3 years after he'd left, he expected to find a struggling colony in desperate need of supplies, but he also expected to find his family. What he found instead was a deserted settlement. White and his crew were greeted by an eerie, almost ghostly scene. The houses and fortifications had been dismantled, not destroyed. It was clear that the settlers hadn't left in a hurry, but where had they gone? The only clue White found was the word Croatoan, carved into a wooden post, and the letters C-R-O carved into a tree nearby. There was no sign of his family or the other colonists. White had left instructions for the settlers. If they were forced to leave due to danger, they were to carve a Maltese cross as a sign. No such cross was found. This suggested that the settlers hadn't been attacked or driven out, but had left willingly. The word Croatoan referred to a nearby island, now known as Hatteras Island, where a friendly Native American tribe lived. But despite his desire to investigate further, his need to investigate further, White was unable to search the island due to severe weather and damage to his ship. He returned to England, never to find out what happened to his family or the lost settlers of Roanoke. The mystery deepened when no further expeditions to the area turned up any trace of the colonists. For decades, Raleigh and later English settlers were left with an unsolvable puzzle. What had become of the Roanoke colonists? Did they integrate with the local Croatoan tribe? Were they attacked by hostile tribes, or perhaps even Spanish raiders? Or did something else entirely lead to their disappearance? Over the centuries, numerous historians, archaeologists, and even conspiracy theorists have proposed explanations for the fate of the Roanoke colonists. Some of the earliest theories emerged during the 17th century, suggesting that the colonists had either been killed or assimilated into nearby Native American tribes. But in the last few decades, more evidence has emerged that paints a clearer, if still incomplete, picture. One of the leading theories is that the settlers may have integrated with the Croatoan tribe. Recent archaeological discoveries on Hatteras Island, including European artifacts such as a sword hilt, copper rings, and glass beads, suggest that the settlers could have moved to the island and lived among the native people. The Croatoan were known to have been friendly with the English, and it's possible that in the face of food shortages and growing tensions with other tribes, the colonists chose to abandon Roanoke and seek refuge with the Croatoan. Another theory proposes that the settlers may have been attacked by hostile Native American tribes, or even by Spanish raiders. The Spanish, who had a strong presence in Florida, were well aware of English efforts to establish colonies along the eastern seaboard. However, if an attack did occur, there's little evidence to support it. No signs of struggle were found, and the dismantled buildings suggest an organized departure, not a violent one. Starvation may have been another driving force behind their disappearance. Tree ring analysis has revealed that Roanoke experienced one of the worst droughts in 800 years during the late 1580s. Without sufficient food or support from England, the colonists may have been forced to move inland in search of better resources. Some researchers believe that they could have tried to integrate with more distant tribes in the interior, such as the Roanoke or the Tuscarora people. In 2011, researchers made a groundbreaking discovery when examining John White's original maps of the Virginia and North Carolina coastlines. They found a small patch covering what appeared to be a fort symbol about 50 miles inland from Roanoke Island, right where John White had said the colonists were considering relocating before he returned to England. This location, known as Site X, is now the focus of archaeological research, and while no large settlement has been found yet, English pottery and tools have been uncovered in the area. Then there's the strange case of the Dare stones. In the 1930s, a series of stones were discovered, allegedly written by Eleanor Dare, John White's daughter, detailing the fate of the colony. According to the stones, half of the settlers were killed by Native Americans, while the rest fled inland. The stones were dismissed as a hoax for decades, but with the discovery of Site X, some researchers believe there may be truth to the story. And of course, no mystery of this magnitude would be complete without some more unusual theories. Some speculate that the colonists might have fallen victim to supernatural forces, cursed by the land or by the natives, or even abducted by aliens, as bizarre as that might sound. While there's no evidence to support these ideas, they continue to capture the imagination of those fascinated by the unknown, people like you and me. So what do we think? Did the colonists peacefully integrate with the Croatoan? Were they forced out by conflict or famine? Or is there something deeper, chilling, an explanation for their disappearance? Let me know your thoughts and the theories in the comments below. In conclusion, the Lost Colony of Roanoke remains one of the most perplexing mysteries in American history. Whether they found refuge with the Croatoan, succumbed to drought, or met a darker fate, the truth about the Roanoke settlers has eluded us for over 400 years. What we do know is that the mystery has endured, and it continues to capture the imagination of historians, archaeologists, and curious minds across the world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time on the next chilling tale of the Narrator of the Unknown.